Okay, so growing up in the United States, we always felt that we were living in the land of the free. But when we moved abroad, we realized that that was just not the case.
Right. Hey all, it's Paul and Natasha from Nomadic-AF. How's it going? So, living in the U.S., we're always brought up, oh, this is the land of the free. You're free to do this and that. But that's just bull. That's just propaganda. You're really not free to do much of anything. And we're not talking about like freedom of speech or freedom to own guns or any of that other BS that you're not free to do, actually.
Right.
But we're talking about things, just simple things like getting out of the house and doing things, or leaving the job you don't like and stuff like that. And we're just going to go over a couple really quick that made us realize after we left the country that there's no freedom there.
So for me, I thought I was free in the States because I had a car and I could move around.
But that's not the case. We realized living overseas, like, a car isn't freedom. That's actually hindering your freedom.
Yeah.
We live in places where we don't need a car. We haven't had a car in 15 years.
Yeah, we've never lived in a drivable city forever.
No, and we live in Mexico now, and if I wanted to drive 25 minutes to the grocery store, it's a $2.50 cab ride.
Yeah.
Why do I need $1,000 monthly car payment and insurance and gas? All that is withholding your freedom. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to go on vacation or leave the country for a month and you've got this car that you spend a couple of grand on a month, that's inhibiting you from doing what you want.
Yeah.
Done.
Not worth it.
Nope. Okay, there. Okay, when I was living in the United States, I thought we were free because we had the best health care and we could go anywhere we want and get the best health care we could afford. Well, it turns out you can't really afford too much.
You can't afford too much. The appointments you have to schedule 2 or 3 months out, and you're better by the time you actually get to see a doctor.
Right, and a broken arm without insurance or with crappy insurance could bankrupt you in the United States.
Yeah, it's so crazy what one little accident or something can do.
Yeah, when we moved overseas, we realized the American myth of free healthcare, not free healthcare, but get the freedom to access healthcare is a joke, a complete joke.
Absolute joke. Okay, when I was growing up in the United States, I thought we had the freedom to have a healthy diet, eat what we want, and that just isn't the case.
No, in the States, first of all, groceries are out of price for most people, especially if you want to eat healthy. Fruits and veg and good meats and eggs, these aren't subsidized by the U.S. government, like the grains and cereal and the starches and shit and chips. Like, processed crap is so cheap in the United States. So that's what the American diet, United States diet, is based on.
Yeah, because that's what we can afford.
If you want to be free to eat a healthy diet and like organic and just take care of yourself, you're free to do it, but you probably can't afford it.
Yeah.
Living overseas, we literally have a fruit and veg truck drive up to our front door to sell us fresh, organic, inexpensive produce, and we can live.
And it's affordable.
And it's very affordable, and we can live this healthy lifestyle that we want to, whereas opposed to the States, you can only do that if you have the money to do that.
Yeah. So another thing is, when I lived in the States, I thought I had the freedom to spend my time how I wanted.
Yeah, well, that's not really the case. Because in order to live in the States, if you want to live even a halfway decent lifestyle, you're working minimum 40, absolute minimum 40 hours, probably 60 to 80. So no, you don't have the freedom to get out and spend your day how you want. You're either working or you're exhausted from working and you're resting.
Yeah.
You can't just up and go on a hike when you want, like we did today. You know, you cannot live the lifestyle you want. You're not free to because you can't afford to.
Nope.
And that's what living overseas is all about. You have more freedoms, and everything is less expensive, so you do have the freedom to do things.
Absolutely.
All right, so when I was living in the States, I thought I was free to work wherever I wanted. If I didn't like my job, I can move on. But
just not the case.
That is absolutely not the case, especially when I moved overseas. I realized when I start my own business, I can literally pick and choose who I want to work with. But in the States, you can't just up and leave your job, especially if you have health care. Especially if the new place you want to work doesn't have your doctor and their healthcare plan.
Yeah.
And your job may not even pay you enough to live the life you want. So you might be stuck in this job that you hate, that doesn't pay you enough that you want, And you're not free to work wherever you want, because if you up and leave that job, you might not find another one.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so one last thing, and this is a big one. When I lived in the United States, I thought I was free until I realized working 40, 60, 80 hours, I wasn't free to do much of anything other than work.
Right, and that's the nice thing with living overseas and living abroad. It's not this work-based culture that is so rampant in the States. You can make a nice living for yourself working 10, 20, 30, 40 hours a week. And even better if you're working from home in the States and living abroad.
Yeah.
So you can live a much better life, but you're not free working 80 hours a week in the States. That's just propaganda.
Yeah, definitely not. And let us know which things you thought were free and really aren't when living in the United States, because we would love to hear them in the comments below. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe, because it really does help our channel.
Yep. All right.
Till next time.
Please.